There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Hey, you gumpers! Hola, bon dia, Alegria. Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal live stream, podcast, and show. How are you this morning? Deagle's here. 2 weeks I'll be sitting in Belfast International Airport with the Minister of Home Affairs, drinking a strong black coffee and bacon and toast. Love an airport breakfast. Keen to be here, Deagle. Moaz is in as well. Baldylocks. Tony. T-Duck is here. And, what's James up to this week? They made this statue of me. And, of course, with thoughts from the Redwoods at around 8:45 this morning, before we welcome Gilda at 9 o'clock for Migration Monday, James will be here with his musings from the previous week. T-Duck is here and in the area. T-Duck and I will be doing a live radio show if we can find some premises to do it from tonight. Maybe with our old mate Boaz as well might be joining us. So after the gardening Q&A tonight, do join us for a little bit of wonderful music. Well, not a little bit, a lot actually, a lot of wonderful music for our weekly radio show. Didn't go terribly well last week, but we will get there. Me and the Duck, me and DJ Duck. Antonio F is in, the Prof is in, Suze. Suze, how are you doing here in Portugal? Good morning, Gumpers, from another lovely day in Ponta de Lima. I think it has her heart. She's not going anywhere else in Portugal by the sound of it. This weekend got too hot, so maybe you're going to head for the hills. I'm used to seeing high heat. You don't want to be coming any further south then, Suze. Recovery from road trip ongoing, getting better slowly. All will be fantastic. Well, great to have your update. Thank you very much. Women Who Walk podcast as well. Bon dia from Estoril. Hello, Louise. Good morning to you. Michael's in as well. Michael Newsom. We have some Portuguese history today in Portuguese history. What is this? An amuse-bouche. Very good. Rebel Mamas and everybody. Pete's here as well. Pete's, morning, Pete. How you doing? How was your weekend in Central Portugal? How was everybody's weekend this weekend? I need another one. Anyone else need another weekend to recover from the weekend? Brian's in as well. Brian Taylor. Baddy's here too. And St. Catherine. Well, the bon dia, Carl. Yeah, amigos. Carl, you look like a pilot this morning. Black stripe on shoulder, headphones on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard this flight to much pleasure and positivity here on the Good Morning Portugal show today. Pete will look after you at the back, so to speak. Ian Leo is here as well. Morning, Ian. How you doing? Bom dia e espero que esteja tudo bem, Carl, and all. Cheers, Ian. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so let's have a look at some snakes in the water, shall we? If you don't like snakes, look away now. I just want to give you a little bit of a taste of the weekend I've just had, which was basically a tour of Parque de Murmurings, the picnic areas of Portugal. Didn't realize it was going to be like this, but we went to 3. My weekend starts on Friday. After the show on Friday, we went to one of our favorite picnic parks. Mrs. M said, I'll show you the still from that particular park. Lying as I do after as much as I can possibly stick in me pie hole, as Andy puts it, Andy in Barrada, who has sent us great information about a film that's going to be shown on the 20th of May. I'll come back to that, but I think of pie hole. I think of Andy, who doesn't like to fill their pie hole first thing in the morning. This is me lying on the bench at the Parque de Murmurings near Alcobaça. This is not an easy one to find. Chanced upon it several months ago whilst new to the area. And this is the view as I lie on my back, having ushered the kids away to play and do something. Mrs. M keeping an eye on them while I contemplate the high pines. Look at that. That's my view as I lay on my back. Improvised bubble wrap pillow. I can recommend that as a bit of a hack as well. That was the first one on Friday, Alcobaça. Then we had a lovely picnic in the San Martino de Porto Park de Morendas. Had it pretty much to ourselves. Few friends over. Thank you, everybody, for coming over on Saturday. Well, if you want to come join us, just drop us a line, 913-590-303. As you can see, Silver Coast meetup number if you want to join that group. And perhaps I should let everybody know about the barbecue that we have on a Saturday afternoon as well. Phil and Maria, bless you for bringing this along. Look, this is a brand in Alcobaça, Copa. Now, I hadn't made the connection, but Copa are the people who make incredible apple-based juices. They do a straightforward apple juice, as you might expect, Maçã, Alcobaça, and they mix it up with strawberries, with pears, with carrot. But they also have a little bit of an outlet in Caldas, apparently, where they sell these. This apple pie was delightful. The pastry on this was beautiful, which I think would suit the American palate, you know, mom's apple pie and all that kind of thing. The pastry was fantastic. The apples, I'm guessing, I'm hoping, weren't from China. Nothing against China and the Chinese. But when you got apples like you do, when you have the massage in Alcobaça, as you do, they need to be in this apple pie. So that was a treat on Saturday afternoon. And, I'll come back to the snake. I think Saturday evening we popped into San Martino de Porto. The horizon, I think, is just about level, but the way I took that shot makes it look like the sea's running down from right to left. But that was the evening as the sun set, as we had a coffee and an ice cream after the... was that on Friday? I can't even remember what day this was now, but that was the view in San Martino de Porto. And another little walk. Was this Friday or Saturday? I don't know. There's Jimmy Chu, one of those optical illusions. Is he running towards me or away from me? But some really nice developments down at Salero de Porto, where there's a... Can you see the new T-junction happening? You can normally walk from Salero to the mouth of the river as it runs into the sea. But there's going to be a right turn across the dunes back towards San Martino de Porto. Jimmy Chu checking that out there as well. So that was part of the weekend. It's exhausting, isn't it? Got some of Jean's pictures from the weekend to show you as well, and a video of the snakes in the water. But yes, where was I before I so rudely interrupted myself? Snakes in the water. I'm just giving you enough time to run away from that. Oh, yeah, yesterday's. Went to Turquel. Lovely recommendation to go to Turquel. Turquel. They have a market on a Sunday. I was going to say we missed the market. Mrs. M got the important things that she wants. Some pak choy and some lavender plants and some other bits and pieces from the plant stall. Now, I've noticed in Portugal, often the plant stall is the last one to pack away. Is this your experience as well? Yes, so we've got some lovely plants, more for the garden. Don't know where it's all going to be squeezed in. But Mrs. M has got that under control. And, managed to do a few bits, well, mainly Mrs. M around the garden. I was on cooking detail. But this was Turquel's Park de Morendas. Let me just play this for you. We'll have a sip on it. And hear the sounds of nature around us. We've just come here for an impromptu picnic. Box of cooked prawns from the local pingados and some fresh bread and some lemon juice and some olive oil. This one has actually seen better days and there's no running water at the moment, but you get a sense of what's possible here when you're out and about in Portugal. We have this place to ourselves at the moment. There was another family here a little while ago, but all of these lovely benches where you can sit, bring your own barbecue or bring your own coals, spark up a barbecue, grill whatever you want to grill, and then just enjoy the beautiful Portuguese countryside. I love this tradition here in Portugal of the picnic areas, the Parque de Morendas. It's such a lovely, understated, relaxing, convivial, and I think an essential, is it essential or a very, very important part of Portuguese family life, it would seem. Come here at the right time and Portuguese families will be here and they'll come to a table like this or get a couple of tables next to each other and then put the tablecloths out and then basically pull out a 3-course meal. Bit of barbecuing maybe, some lovely desserts, certainly some beer and wine, 3 generations, maybe more, and just have a great time hanging out together. You see us Mad Dogs and Englishmen coming in the midday sun, or it certainly always seem to be at a different time to the Portuguese families. That may be the mark of true integration one day, is to be here at the same time as the Portuguese families. But as you can see, or as you can hear, it's so peaceful. So I will just shut up for a bit so you can hear the birds singing here. Wow, let's stay with the wildlife, shall we? Oh, Jacqueline Branco's in this morning. Morning, Jacqueline. Morning from Gairas. Have a fabulous week. Thank you. You too. Right back at you. Igualmente. Bom dia, alegria. Tudo bem. To you, Jacqueline Branco. And what's this? Ordering guinea pig on the... No, that, you don't want to be doing that. We'll come back to that a bit later on as well. Nothing special for Matty's weekend. Did some more cleaning and packing in my Amsterdam apartment and watched the F1. What is the appeal of that? You grown men watching racing cars going around a track. Wait 2 minutes. Wait 2 more minutes. And on it goes for 80 laps. Is it like the contemplative quality of fishing? Maybe, I don't know. Something to focus on. Something to focus the troubled and busy mind upon. Oh, Owen's in as well. Owen, let's keep making those plans, mate. We're looking like an outside broadcast back at the Parc de Morendas that I've been talking so much about this morning. Bom dia, meus amores, que o sol brilhe em sua testa. May the sun shine in your testicles, or something like that from Owen this morning. Let's go back to, let's stay with the nature, shall we? Because there I was sharing the nature of the Parc de Morendas at Turkel with you. Snake on the water, fire in the sky. I was actually scared. Not as scared as that time I got chased by a wild boar, of course. But that was pretty scary, seeing a snake coming out of the water. Now I'm thinking, snake sees man, snake turns and makes his way away from man. No, snake sees man and makes his way towards man in the water and then mounts the bank and comes even closer, at which point me and the eldest think, okay, it's time to go. But Portuguese friends, shut up, panicking snakes in the water. No worries, they're not poisonous. They're fine. You can, Bear Grylls of the insurance world said, yeah, just leave it be. Which we did. We did leave it be, but, we're not used to it. Us estrangeros, thinking about having a little paddle and then seeing that creature coming towards you, that biblical creature winding its way in the water. It was absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing. So the park, that concludes my coverage for you of our tour of the Parc de Morendas locally. There are thousands of them, I suspect, around Portugal. What an amazing tradition, as I said in my little video there. What a lovely part of Portuguese life. Were you at a Parc de Morendas? See us soon. See Owen cooking live at a Parc de Morendas soon, and we'll extend the Silver Coast meetup into that. So some outdoor cooking action soon, as soon as we've organised it all. These lovely pictures from Jean as well. Jean chanced upon a tile maker. Look at this in the south over the weekend. There's the number if you need any tiles. Floor tiles, roof tiles, a speciality. And here are the gentlemen making them, taking cover from the baking sun of the Algarve. And there's a clay pit, presumably at the back there, where they're getting all the clay to make these. Fantastic. Look, and all laid out. And I don't know what they're doing here. They're just air dried, perhaps, or maybe after a little while they pop them in a kiln. I don't know. Not seen the rest of the video or the process here. Who's ringing me at this time? Not realizing that we're on air. Do excuse me. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? And I think they make roof tiles as well. Is this your picture too as well? Oh no, that's from Ivy, who was at Nazare. There's a picture of Nazare for you. Unexpected item in the bagging area there. Bagging a few pictures and videos from people this weekend. Isn't that a lovely shot of Nazare? And just Jean, finally. Look at this. Talk about hitting the ground running or hitting the ground biking. Did you bring your bicycle over, or did you manage to borrow all that kit, Jean, for a lovely cycle tour around that part of Portugal, down there in the south in the Algarve, and chancing upon the tile factory there, ceramic tile. That's lovely. Really, really grateful to you for sharing that with us. That's fantastic. What else have we all been up to this weekend? Go to James in just a minute to see what James has been up to this weekend. Let's just check in with a couple of comments. Oh, actually, what I'll do is, before we talk to James, I've got the Rebel winemaker. Very quickly then, thanks to Andy for this. Let me share on the screen for you from our own events section on expatsportugal.com. The Rebel Winemaker. I'm going to put more and more events up here as promised, as threatened. 20th of May, 2100 hours. Pato Pathos. It works, doesn't it? As a little bit of a wordplay that. The Cine Club Bairrada joins the celebrations of the International Baga Day, which is the great grape of the Bairrada region. In conjunction with Baga Friends, giving support to the documentary Pato Pathos, which had its premiere in the Porto Post /Docs platform. Luis Pato is one of the most exciting wine producers in the Bairrada region. He's a real character. We had him on the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. It was fantastic. He's so encyclopedic in his knowledge, and he's so naughty and rebellious in his sensibilities and approach to winemaking. But responsible for the introduction of a series of innovative processes in Portuguese wine culture from the 1980s. And in 2020, after 40 years of winemaking, celebrated ephemeride with a moment of reflection. I don't quite understand that, but it's a good word nonetheless. Pato Pathos is the result of this look back with eyes on the future. Okay, so he gave a talk in 2020, and presumably that is immortalized in this documentary. Fantastic. The session will be finished up with un pequeno beberete. Of course it will, in celebration. £10 a head. Look at that. In the Bairrada region at the Wine Museum of Anadia. It's a great museum to go to. Go earlier in the day to have a little wander around the museum. Really, really good museum. The biggest collection of corkscrews I've ever seen in my life. 30 people maximum on that, and all the funds raised will go to the Hip Club social project. So check that out on the website. I'll put that into the comments for you now as we go to a little bit of this now, everybody. Just see if you can spot the difference. I've changed the intro video, same music, we love the music, but just changed the video just ever so in a tinsy wincy sort of way. But did I upload it? Yes, I did. Here it is. And here with thoughts from the Redwoods, James Holley. How are you, my friend?
That tune's growing on me.
Did you not like it at first?
No, I do. It's just the more I hear it, I go, oh, I have my own theme song now. It's
you do have your own theme song. You should demand that people play it when you walk into restaurants.
Yeah. I'm reminded of the 80s with the boom boxes. I just carry my own theme song around with me.
Do it, James, please. I'd love to see the video of that. But the thing is, I think in Portugal, nobody would bat an eyelid, would they? I mean, people love their music here and very, very happily play music loud from the car, loud in the back garden. And I remember one time I was doing some renovations in the house, the music was blaring, and the lady, the grandma of the house, the grandma came in, and I said, oh, shall I turn it down? I was gesturing to turn it down. No, musica. She was loving it. And we were almost having a little dance on the building site together. So I think you could get away with that, my friend. How are you? And what have you been thinking about this week?
Well, a couple of comments. First of all, I loved your race car imitations. I was reminded of cats getting run over. So,
oh dear.
And then you said something earlier that just sets this off really well. And you just said it in passing. You said, I can't remember what day it was. And to me, that is just such an awesome thing to be able to say, right? This is the life we're living. I can't even remember what day it was. I did something great, but I don't remember.
Yeah, and all the days roll into each other like that. And yes. The tour of the picnic parks. I honestly can't remember. I mean, if I focus, I probably can. But there they were, pictures of sunsets, pictures of pine trees, snakes, birds. It all just gelled into one beautiful 3-day weekend that I'm just recovering from now. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Isn't that a lovely thing to be able to say?
Absolutely, yes. And I'm realizing that my glasses are fogging up, so I'll take them off.
That's so a nice thing to be erotic novel entry, I think, there, James. His glasses were fogging, so he disrobed himself of the spectacles. Nurse! I said remove his spectacles. Yes, a good one from the seaside postcards. But yes, sorry, I interrupt.
No, I just in coming in today, I was thinking about Friday, and it just landed in such a sweet spot for me. I just love the Fridays with Jenny B, the energy it creates, the awareness, the self-awareness of our thoughts and our emotions. All that stuff is just like right up my alley. I don't know why I became a therapist. might have had something to do with all that stuff. But it also got me thinking, when we're talking about the impacts of our thoughts, a couple of things came to mind. One was a Buddha quote that says, what you think you become. So that notion has been around a long time. And it's, to me, it is so true. And then you made a comment about, people needing the science to prove the things. And I understood the thought, but it landed with me more in a place of, it's not to prove it, it's to understand why. It's like, to me, it's a miracle that it happens at all. But when science can say, see, here's what's going on, I just go, oh, that's fascinating, right? It's like, amazing. So it's not that it proved it, it just shows you how and why it does what it does. So to me, that's just added information. So the scientific term now for you think what you become is references to neuronal pathways and how we, with brain plasticity and how we prune our vocabulary and all kinds of amazing things that go on with the brain that I refer to with my clients as building a highway direct to the habitual thought. So if we think negatively, we get more negative, and our first thoughts, our first reaction, straight onto the highway to negativity. So the only way to change that is to build a new highway. Just choose not to go down the negative highway and build a positive one. And eventually, over time, your default will be to head there, or neutral, or whatever choice you make. So neuronal pathways was sort of the modern version of the Buddha saying. That got me thinking about emotions. And I always, when I speak of emotions, try to stay away from referring to them as negative or positive emotions, because to me, there's a quality of judgment, like good or bad. And for me, all emotions are good it's good to have all our emotions, not to like try to not have them. So I got to thinking, why do we refer to the negative emotions as negative emotions versus positive, which goes back to the whole love and fear thing I talked about earlier. And I think that if we look at it, positive emotions are sourced in love and negative emotions are sourced in fear. So that may be one reason, but another is the actual impact that those emotions have on us. Holistically, everything affects everything. So negative emotions have negative impacts. They're unhealthy. They decrease the quality of our health, whereas positive emotions actually heal and increase them. So another reason that we might define them as negative and positive, that's not judgmental. It's just measured on their impact. To that point, and to the amazing wisdom of our bodies and how we're connected, there's been some research done on the contents of tears, of all things. People study so much stuff. It's like, let's see what's in tears. And they found a very clear distinction between reflexive tears, like you get poked in the eye and you get a tear, which are like 98% water, and emotional tears, especially under stress. And what they found is that tears contain high levels of stress hormones when we're under stress or we're expressing emotional tears. So it is just yet another way the body is making an effort to flush itself of things that will eventually poison it. I don't think any of us are going to die from our tears, but it's just another example of how the body is so amazingly responsive to what it needs.
Too true. Sounds like they should go in a yellow box. Hazardous waste. Some of them.
Yeah. Well, some people, anecdotal, some people say they notice that their cheeks get redder when their tears are on them. And some people say when they've swallowed stressful tears, they notice a burning in their throat they don't notice in the absence of them. Things like that. It's all anecdotal, but it would make sense to me.
Yeah, too true.
So there was some mention of heart math, which in trying to understand the heart in new ways. And I felt the educator in me really wanted to raise awareness about this amazing work that this organization has been doing, the Heart Math Institute, for probably close to 30 years now. And actually, they're centered in Santa Cruz too. So I just remembered that again here. It's like, oh yeah, of course, Santa Cruz. But what they have found over these years is they started, I imagine it was a PhD thesis on, what the heart is. And as they started looking, they found more and more stuff, and it became this whole other area that nobody realized before. But the heart now, as it's been studied, is actually, as they've determined it, is a sentient organ. Exactly as the brain is a sentient organ, there's an awareness and an ability to communicate with the body that is, while the language of the communication is different, it's no different than the brain communicating to the body. And what they have found is that the heart communicates to the brain and to the rest of the body at a rate of something like 10 times more than the brain communicates to the body. So it's a very, very active organ, and it's sourced in our heart. So it's not just this muscle that's pumping blood. It's actually informing the body and informing us. And if we learn the language of the heart, then we have that much more information to work with in how we maintain our lives. And we talked a little bit about electromagnetic fields that we all produce. And they started with understanding the brain. When you measure electromagnetic fields, you can actually measure the intensity of them from the brain. So they started looking at the heart, and they said, oh, the heart does it too. But if the brain is like this, the heart is like this in terms of the measurements. They've only been able to measure a maximum of 4 feet away from our bodies. The technology only measures that. It could go much farther, but they can only measure out 4 feet. So that means that anytime we're within 4 feet of someone else, we're overlapping our energy. Again, this is the science and the folklore, like coming together again. It's like, to me, it's fascinating. So when someone is in a bad mood and we go in unconsciously we begin to intersect our electromagnetic fields, we begin to be influenced negatively by their negative energy because it's so intense. But if we go into that same field consciously and saying, this goes back to the influence versus control, I'm going to influence their mood rather than letting them influence mine. So I'm going to make a choice, and I'm going to go in with the intention of maintaining a strong, positive electromagnetic field. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to hold warm, loving, compassionate thoughts in my body. I'm going to communicate in loving, respectful ways. And that will overwhelm the negative energy. That's shown that the force field of the positive state is more powerful than the force field of the negative one. So we can actually influence people's moods intentionally without saying a word necessarily, simply by bringing ourselves within proximity in a very positive state. And to me, that is fascinating. We can add our words to it that can then touch them somewhere inside and begin to shift it. But that energy is absolutely amazing. And it is shown to be more healing. Heart Math, I read one of the reports they wrote. They said, if you were a chain smoker, you smoked a pack of cigarettes a day, and you only had the choice to quit smoking or put yourself in a state of what they call heart coherence. I won't go into all the science of it, but it's that very sort of grounded feeling at one with the world sort of place. That the better choice would be to do 10 minutes of heart coherence practice every day than to quit smoking, because that would be more healing than the damage of the cigarettes. Wow. So our heart, to me, is just this incredibly powerful place of healing and awareness and how we perceive the world around us, that I think has not been given its due credit. We give a lot of credit to the brain, our capacity to think and understand and speak and, regulate.
Yeah.
But the heart,
Well,
to
and
me,
possibly we've learned to overrule it as well, haven't we? Because that's one of the
Yeah.
messages of childhood, possibly, or one of the takeaways from childhood is about this 4-foot stuff when you're a kid, don't you? You perceive people in this way, and you're not really taught or brought up to acknowledge it and work with it. In many ways, you're encouraged to close it down, or it's a natural response, isn't it, to close it down, because it's quite painful sometimes to be among grown-ups who are projecting their heart energy all over you in a way that you might not like. So you could shut that down, couldn't you? So it might be like an occult area. So thank you for speaking out for the heart and its power this morning, Mr. Holley.
Well, I think we tend to avoid any education or discussion around anything emotional, and emotions are related to the heart. I think the heart is probably what's responsible for the emotional aspect of our existence. So like so many things, it's just a lack of education and training. Well, imagine if we were taught as children how to manage our electromagnetic fields, or just in a simpler way, how we feel. We can consciously regulate how we feel by paying attention to what's inside and having strategies. My strategy, what I tell people consistently, is my key to peace. Because to me, peace is like, that's the state I think I'm seeking, is to be at peace. My key to that is a practice of gratitude, intentional, always starting with a deep breath. When I catch myself, which goes back to that notice, choose, and act. So I notice that for me, I'm complaining in my head. Right. So I notice that. Then I go to choice. Well, do you want to stay in this place, or do you want to make a different choice? I think I'll choose something else. Okay, what would that be? I think I'd rather be at peace. So how do I get there? For me, it's always with gratitude. So if I'm upset about something, or I'm complaining about something, I'm standing in a long queue when I had an appointment, and they're having a social conversation and taking my time. I'm
annoyed just hearing that.
Yeah. So I can choose to be annoyed and stand there frustrated and arrive angry and upset, or if I'm aware that I'm complaining, I can choose something else. So if I'm choosing to be at peace, it's like, well, what am I grateful for? First thing in my mind in this process is, I'm grateful I'm in Portugal. I'm grateful I got here. I'm grateful my D7 was approved, and then I had my residency card approved, and I'm here. I'm grateful that this is the last piece of administration I have to do for the next 2 years. So find the things I'm grateful for in that very moment about the things I'm upset about. And immediately the list of gratitude exponentially grows, and my state becomes more and more and more peaceful.
I'm feeling it, James. And sadly, we need to move on this morning. But the gratitude for me is to knowing that, God willing, you'll be back with us next Monday for more thoughts from the Redwoods. Before you go, let me just add. Look, I'm delighted to have been quoted by HeartMath. Look at that first quote on the page. I don't quite know how that happened, but that's what you're talking about, isn't it? The HeartMath Institute. All right, I'll send it to you. Don't worry. I'm blowing my own trumpet this morning, and who doesn't like to blow their own trumpet first thing in the morning? Wow, what James is saying has hit me right between the ears. We'll be with you in just a moment, Gilda. Would like to learn more. Thank you so much for this. Have a great day, week. And the Good Morning Portugal is so much more than info for expats about Portugal. Oh, yeah, we do talk about expats and Portugal, don't we, from time to time as well? And we're talking about visas and migration for the next hour. Don't worry about that. It is a spiritual healing community both as well. And how much better than that hat could it get? Well, I think even your hat is getting some glory this morning. And I definitely will watch the replay of this video so I could focus on James's wise words. It is a good hat. Does it mean something when it's hung there? Is it a sign to the listeners? I wonder. Okay.
It's just a convenient place to let it not get moldy and mildewy. The air circulates the road. It's easy to hang.
All right. Yes, there's another reason to be
very
grateful. Okay, I will look forward to seeing you back in the comments, and of course, back on our screens next week. Thank you for those thoughts from the Redwoods.
Back in the show.
Thanks, James from Baddy, and Amazing James. He's been promoted. Amazing Grace, Amazing James. How sweet the sound this morning. Thank you so much. Expats Portugal delivers again. We're not finished. We are so not finished delivering this morning, because now on your screens, south of Lisbon, Gilda Pereira from Hey, how are you this morning?
Hello.
And Mandela as well. How are you this morning, Gilda?
Hello, good morning. First of all, I would like to say that James was amazing, and it's a very good way to start the week with James.
Yeah, on a Monday, right? I need another weekend to recover from this weekend. There he is, reminding us about gratitude and how the heart might be as important. We might have three brains, Gilda. We might have the brain that we've been brought up to understand to some extent anyway, then the heart brain and the gut brain as well. All of this goes on. We know this, don't we? But the scientists are just catching up with us now. So here he is. We've got to show the picture of Mandela. Why is he being noisy this morning? Could he just feel the energy of your arrival onto the show, do you think?
No, I think it's because someone is around the door downstairs.
Okay, well, we found out how Mandela is. How are you? How was your weekend?
Oh, it was great. It was great. I was by the pool. I had some sun, so I had some barbecue. It was perfect.
Very good. Yeah, I've talked a lot this morning about the Portuguese tradition of the Parque de Marendas, or Parque dos Marendas, I guess, in the plural. What a lovely thing that is. I mean, it's an amazing thing that Portuguese people take for granted. But where I'm from, people would not be trusted to have a barbecue like left alone to their own devices like that. There's quite a lot of control in the UK of people's behavior socially and anti-socially. And it's so nice that Portuguese people are so relaxed and laid back about making running water available, place to grill your food, place to sit under the trees. It's just such a lovely thing. Do you use these sorts of facilities yourself?
Well, actually, last week I went to a place like that, but it was from a party of one of my son's colleagues, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's the beauty of it, isn't it? You can just go. People can go there, can meet up there, and you don't need to invite everyone back to your house. You know, if your house is too small for a massive group, you can invite them into this great big outdoor area. Everyone brings their own food, sticks it on the barbecue, bring and share. Fantastic. Okay, well, we are here for the next hour or so. Gilda is here to talk to you about any migration matters. Little bit of good news, I think, from the reunification front. Is that right, or was that just a little bit of a rumor?
No, it's not a rumor. It was true. I told you last week to because I was not here on the show, so I sent you a message to tell to your listeners that the lines were open for family reunion, and I think on Friday they were still open. Of course, it's difficult for them to answer the phone. You need to start calling in the morning and see if you're lucky from them to answer the phone, but just keep calling and get your appointment. So this is actually good news.
Great stuff. So reunification opportunities, appointments are becoming available. If that is your route into Portugal, make those calls. Bombard SEF with calls to make your appointment. Hello, Gilda from Jim. And the first question in. Morning, Jim. From Ian. Gilda, please advise where we can apply for our Schengen visa. South African passport holder living in the UK and wanting to move permanently in a year or two. Thanks. Well, what's the thing to do? Where does he actually live? Oh, living in UK. So how do you go about that process if you're living in the UK?
Well, first of all, one member of the family needs to apply for the residency visa. And then the other members need to apply for the Schengen visa so that when they come to Portugal, they can do the family reunion. Okay.
There you go. Thank you very much, Ian, for that question. We have lots of hellos. I feel the need to backtrack a little bit, and we'll get a few more hellos from you this morning. So we are up and running this morning, answering your migration questions with Gilda. I want to talk a little bit about the 15 Ukrainian kids as well that need foster families. That's an interesting news article from the Portugal Resident, and we may be able to help with that. Okay, so let's if you'll permit, Gilda, us going back way back to the start of the show. Moaz was the first one here this morning. Oh, we want to do a Casa do Dia. I'd like to take you to central Portugal as well today, Gilda, and back in history. So quite a few things for you to be here with us and experience and enjoy this morning. Bon dia from, that was James way back as well, before he was even on the screen. But importantly to say Feliz Segunda a todos. Thank you very much for that. And Tony, great to see you. T-Duck is in San Martino de Porto this morning. Excellent stuff. And some Portuguese proverbs. So you can help me out with these, Gilda. A pedra é dura e a gota d'água é miúda, mas carinho... Yes, I can see the look on your face. De continuo faz cavadura. Have you ever heard this one?
But it's not like that. It's pedra... pedra... Pedra dura em água mole, tanto bate até que fura.
Yes, which trips off the tongue much better, doesn't it, than this right old mouthful that T-Duck made me read. The stone is hard and the drop of water is small, but falling continuously.
In English it's okay, but the translation to Portuguese, it's not that's good.
Yeah, T-Duck. But the point here being that this is like the migration process, possibly, isn't it? You need to be like water, don't you? So that it may appear that the forces of migration are like stone, but just drip, 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 little bit every day, and you will make it. Good one. Thank you. Facilmente acreditamos naquilo que desejamos. We easily believe what we want. Oh, that connects with what James was saying, doesn't it? So have you heard these before then, albeit if that you're slightly tweaking them into a more sort of understandable and popular Portuguese? Are these things that Portuguese grandmas say to their grandchildren?
Yeah.
Okay. Mas vai saber que haver e dar que receber. Are you giving that strange look to my pronunciation?
No, that is not a phrase that makes sense to us.
I'm so glad you're here. It is better to know that there is and to give than to receive. Okay, well, we know that one, don't we? It's better to give than to receive. That's what we're about this morning. An excellent metaphor, giving out the migration advice this morning, and good for those who are on the receiving end of it, of course. Jack, is that the first mosquito in the studio this morning? Bon dia, todos, off to the Gypsy Market in Algoz. Oh, because a bit of an event listing then, by way of a greeting as well. Jack Polly this morning, 9 a.m. That's an early start, isn't it? Hope you all have a good day. Thank you, Jack. Have a great time at the Gypsy Market down there in Algoz. Bon dia, todos from Antonio F. And a Mark Twain quote. I didn't attend the funeral, but I sent a nice letter saying I approved of it. And look at this. That oh, you see, you're not the first one to take issue with that there, Gilda. Antonio F. said the current version is aguamol en pedra dura, tanto bat ate que fura, which has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? And a rhyme to it. And the meaning is the same. Thank you very much for that. What's this? Bon dia a todos os Johnnies e Ambers. Aprendam a brincar bem. So play nicely. Have you been watching Johnny Depp and Amber and their shenanigans? You have. Are you keeping an eye on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to give an opinion on that, or should we just move on? Hola, bon dia. Move on. Hola, bon dia. Okay, so a sunny Amsterdam with 12 degrees off the centigrade there. Michael Newsom, do you have a question on migration, Michael? Maybe not. Bon dia from Porto, you see. Maybe a scouting trip. Last full day here before we leave. Sad about that in Porto. Tell us about the highlights, if you will, please. Let's have a little bit of this, shall we, Gilda? Where's my old picture? a bit of Portuguese history. I really enjoy this, and thank you so much to the prof for this. Today, an amuse-bouche of Portuguese history, Gilda. 2012, in one of the dumbest political moves ever. It's a little bit judgmental. And who's that in the picture, I wonder? Pedro Passos Coelho announces the suspension of 4 holidays from 2013. Do you remember this, Gilda? That would
I
not
remember.
have gone, it didn't go down well, I take it. No. Presented as a measure to increase productivity in the context of 2011-2014 Troika bailout to Portugal. Oh dear, it gets worse. The 4 holidays were eventually restored by the government of Antonio Costa. That's all Antonio Costa needed to say, wasn't it? If I get in, I will bring the 4 holidays back. Okay, you get my vote. That's it. Very good, Antonio Costa. What did you want to say about that?
What sense does it make 4 days in a year?
Well, quite. I mean, you can't do that to people, can you? You cannot do that to people. That was a very silly move. And that is what he's like a 5th Beatle, isn't he? Honestly, Pedro Coelho announcing that, and probably the end of his political career. Or maybe he's a hatchet man who was then hired to deliver bad news around the rest of the world. Rebel Mama, hola, Pajor, tudo bem, contigo, Rebel Mama. And the 4 holidays then were eventually restored by Antonio Costa. Probably the best thing he ever did. Bon dia alegria. Prof, at least you have all had a weekend to find your date. Ooh, that sounds a little creepy. Oh, I see this, a history reference there. Seriously, though, I do have some questions for Gilda, as a very good friend of ours has been stuck trying to get back to Portugal as Seth's paper residency is not accepted. Oh, they didn't do their QR code then, Pete. Is that the problem here? Let's anticipate that, if we may then, Gilda. The Brits were meant to change their crew, their piece of paper as it was, to a QR code. Have you heard of this? Brits coming back into the country, not having a QR code and then being barred entry? Is it as serious as that?
No, that's new to me.
Oh, okay. That is new. We need to know more, I think. All right.
Because if Seth is not doing their job and they are not giving a residence to these people, how can they expect people to be waiting forever? They don't even give an expectation for it to happen, so people cannot be stuck here forever.
Quite. Well said. Well said. And if you're stuck at the airport, I will give the number for EI age in a minute, and you can get one of the lawyers on the phone to talk to immigration. Say, come on, you can't do this to people. Today in Portuguese history, says Pete. Tell us more, Pete, about that situation. See what we can do about that. I am blooming glad that I got out of Bitcoin 6 months ago. It has lost half of its value. Well, I see Madeira have taken a very positive approach to Bitcoin. Madeira Bitcoin adoption announced. The biggest Bitcoining event took place in Miami last month, gathering 30,000 Bitcoiners from across the globe to discuss technical innovations, blah, blah, blah. This year, Madeira took center stage as one of the 3 new zones that are following the path of Bitcoin adoption that El Salvador had championed in 2021. I think that's a very smart move, Madeira. Have you heard anything about this, Gilda? And do we know that capital gains tax is still untouched when it comes to cryptocurrency?
Yes, it's still untouched.
Still untouched. But would you agree a good move on behalf of Madeira there, setting itself up as a bit of a Bitcoin haven and paradise, possibly?
Yes, in Madeira there is like a tradition. They are always with these tricks.
Oh, so when you say these tricks, do you mean they're quite progressive in their policies to lure people to the islands?
Yes, with these tax exemptions or lowering the taxes.
So it's like Portugal, Singapore, or Gibraltar, maybe. Every country, or the Isle of Man. Yes, indeed. Okay. Good morning, Gilda from Suze. I fled Finland. Excellent. Round of applause for you. Well, successfully in Ponta de Lima now. She is Suze, Gilda. May I apply for refugee status? Well, that's an interesting question. The Finnish military are deploying to Russian border in response to Putin's ongoing threats. I hope nothing will come of it. That does sound terrifying. And I have to say, Suze really put that into perspective for us when she was telling us what was going on in Finland. Becoming an asylum seeker in Portugal, is that do you work for clients in that way, for people who fear for their own safety coming from their country of origin?
No, I don't. I don't work with refugees because the government takes care of everything. But
Right.
she cannot have the status of refugee because she's not she's
Well, as in
not in the country. She's
it's
not
not
in
an
the country
officially
of
recognised.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not officially recognised as a country that people flee from, right? You can't do it on an individual
Yes.
basis. Okay, so
Yes.
it needs
And
to be.
also, she just needs to go to the city hall and do her.
Yeah, from Finland, using your EU status, hopefully Susie.
Yes. So
Um,
you don't need the refugee status to be here. You don't need a visa to be here. So it's easier than that.
okay, there you go. Suze, let us know how that goes. Maybe get your head together. You've had a long journey, 4,500 kilometers. Get yourself back in the land of the living, well and truly, and then pop along to your camera and see what they've got to say. So I think it's Cindy we're talking about here, the friend of Pete. And I saw a YouTube video. I tried to watch it, and for some reason I couldn't connect. And maybe it's this situation here. Was that an airline in Dubai that did not accept the paper residency thingy, the crew, and they had to fly back to South Africa? That may well be it. Give us more information if you will, see if we can
Oh
help.
yeah, yeah. If it was outside Portugal, that might be a different situation because they are not aware of the rules here.
How terrifying. Okay, today
Yeah.
in Portuguese history, the entree, we've had the amuse-bouche, and this picture may tell the story of this is it. Is this the queen who preferred tea to gin? Can you believe that? 1387, the Treaty of Windsor. I imagine they gave this person, if it is the person, a look like you gave me when I said I was giving up drinking, Gilda. The treaty is an alliance between England and Portugal and is the oldest diplomatic alliance in the world still in force. Isn't that a lovely thing to be able to say? As a result, in 1387, João I, Primero, marries Philippa, daughter of John of Gaunt, third son of the... Are you keeping up with this, everybody? Third son of King Edward III of England. Excellent stuff. Is there a history dessert today, I wonder? Okay, so what's this? An Angolan and Middle Eastern one. Yep, this is so I guess the plot thickens. Troubles at the Angolan end and the Middle Eastern border forces here. Bon dia, Gampers, from Brian. How you doing, Brian? And Laura P. with a bon dia todos. A few more days, then I finally go to see my daughter in New York. Sounds lovely, Laura. Not the same weather as here, but I will cope. It's for a good reason. Of course it is. Baddy's in as well. Bon dia, alegria. And who else is here this morning? And who's asking questions about migration? Let's have them. I can't believe that anyone would love an airport breakfast. It's a week now. British people do like an airport breakfast, often with a pint of beer. They're funny like that. It's a week now that I've been recovering from salmonella poisoning
Oh
after
my
lunch.
God.
Oh dear. En route back to Lisbon. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Should have gone to Owen's Food Alchemy. Expect branches and franchises at international airports all over the world. Wouldn't that be amazing? Carl as cabin crew. Is that why EasyJet are taking their seats out? Stop it, Peter. Porky Feet Andy is here. Thank you for that mention of the Rebel winemaker and the Pato Pathos. Are you familiar with Luis Pato, the winemaker, Gilda? Do you like his wines?
I don't drink right now, but yes, they are fine.
Well, you know, I'd rather not talk. Well, I've got to confess to you, I've been off it for a year. It was my wedding anniversary. And I thought of all the people to break my alcohol fast for, it has to be my lovely wife. So we celebrated at a lovely restaurant in San Martino de Porto. You'd be proud of me. And I had espumante, which I didn't think counted. It was for a special occasion. It's not real alcohol, is it? When it's lovely Bairra de Fizz celebrating a wedding anniversary.
Yeah, no.
And it was really nice. And then at the end, they gave us a glass of port each. So I well and truly broke my fast. But I'm back off it again until July the 7th, when I will have a cold beer with somebody, anybody who wants to drink with me. It was a little hot this weekend. Had to put the solar power air conditioning system on for the first time. The lights were dimming, possibly, then in Castelo Branco. Sorry to hear about your salmonella, says Rebel Mama. Ooh, that's horrible. I'm wondering if you can get that from cooked food like eggs on toast. Well, yes, the connection between salmonella and eggs was known in the United Kingdom, possibly even Heathrow Airport. Surely that apple pie lacks the nuanced deep frying required for both the American and Scottish with their sophisticated palates. Possibly there. What we're talking about is this brand here, Gilda. This is Copa. I think this is a beautiful Portuguese brand. They make incredible apple juice, which I think is exported all over the country, maybe around the world. I don't know. And this was the apple pie that we tried from them at the weekend. Are you a fan of the apple pie, Gilda? Do American? Oh, and do the Americans bring them over to you to savor?
No.
Okay.
Never.
All right. We had a great Sunday hike with Oscar Oliveira and Adriano, friends of Vitor and originators of One Hike At. Oh, a great river walk and scenery. Look at that. And it's true, Rebel Mama, when you don't pay attention to the chat, this is welcome to my world, and then glance back, such odd comments. It's so true. Antonio F says, this is exciting news, Gilda. The Mosteiro de Alcobaça will have some restrictions on the 19th and 20th of May. And the Convento do Tomar will be closed from May the 23rd to the 27th. Netflix are filming the movie Damsel. Do you know something about this? And
I heard about it.
Cool. Have you got a part in it? I think you should have a little cameo in this movie, don't you? We'll tell them who you are. Be careful. Fantastic Filomena said that a wonderful goat in red wine dish was translated by Google into Portuguese as guinea pig. People do eat guinea pig around the world, though, don't they? I think the Peruvians are. I can't imagine there's a big guinea pig steak to be had on them, but I think they do. Maybe they roll them up and bake them in clay or something like that. And maybe people want me to stop talking about eating guinea pigs now. Okay, and let's move on and see if the questions are coming in about migration. We have a bon dia alegria gumpers from Cindy B. Great to see you at the Barbie at the weekend. And Pamela Smith, bon dia to you. Bon dia, everyone. Looks like you had a wonderful weekend, Carl. I did. I saw a snake in the water, Gilda.
Yeah, I saw the video. Where was that?
Yes. That's near Alcobaça. A very special Parc de Miranda. How would you have responded? You weren't too bothered, were you, by that? Have you swum with snakes?
If I was in the water, maybe I was bothered with that. Were you swimming with the kids?
No. You weren't. You're not meant to swim in that one, and maybe that's the reason why. It's a reservoir, but it was teeming with tadpoles. It was really fantastic. And then the snake, and you can hear my daughter screaming, "Run, Daddy!" From that, which I did in the end. But I walked slowly away. I needed to tell the snake who was boss. So I walked away slowly. That was a water snake, says Antonio. Carl, some people used to grab them and play around with it. Not me. It's not exactly like dolphins. Not like swimming with dolphins, is it? Which you can do near where Gilda lives, of course. Have you seen any dolphins down near where you live?
Oh yes, many.
Really? You say that so casually. What a lovely thing to be able to do. We saw two snakes mating yesterday on our hike, and to which Pete says, pervs. I love the way every snake is called a cobra. With years in India, it was a little shocking at first. It sounds like you've calmed down now. Oh, and Battaglia Monastery closed for everything. Every public tourism place in Portugal is closing down for a few days. Because what's the name of the movie again? What's it called? Oh, Damsel. Well, do we know anything about the movie, Gilda?
No, I don't know.
Okay, can someone find out for us what Damsel is about? I'm guessing it's about a damsel, but can we find out any more than that? I came across a group of men a few years ago, says Diego, in Tunisia, went out a walk with the boys. They had sticks hitting the long grass. Turns out a snake. My boys wanted to go back next day and hunt the snake. Stay away! Water moccasins in southern US are quite poisonous. That's presumably not a pair of slippers, but actually a kind of snake. And some controversy about what is and isn't closing. Well, never mind. Make a note that some places, some monuments in Portugal are closing for the filming of Damsel. Okay, we'll scroll back, but we're going to scroll forward to see if we've got any migration questions that are coming in. Anything else that you want to share with us, Gilda, from the world of migration? Any other tidbits from Seth or anything that's come to your attention this week?
No, everything is going fine. It seems like that the San Francisco consulate is a little bit overwhelmed. It's taking a little bit more time. But at the end, everything turns out fine.
Okay, all right.
Big problems.
No big changes, Gilda. The dollar sign. I think that's probably meant to be an @ sign, but you've got a dollar sign there like you're a rapper. Would it be possible to get the plastic, I think that probably is, rather than astic or bombastic, residency cards sent to South Africa to solve that issue and be able to return to the farm in Portugal. So I think we're a bit concerned here about Cindy. If that is indeed who it is that something that could work? I mean, presumably she has to apply for her own residency card. It can't be sent out for her, can it? Or could she employ a power of attorney for this sort of thing?
No, she needs to be there to the appointment. One thing is, she needs to be there to the appointment for the biometric data, and then the resident card goes to her address. Right. If there is someone that has access to her address, then that person can send the card to South Africa. That's one thing.
Here's a situation. She has the QR code, but it's just we've got to watch that video to find out more. I think we probably don't. We're making a lot of guesses here, Pete. But as somebody who is clearly concerned about this person, if it is indeed the person I'm thinking of, I wonder if you might call EI or step in and see what we can do about this. I wonder.
This is a very unfair situation, because look, if you are in the shoes of the other country, okay, yes. and this happened to us before, okay. If you are in the shoes of the other country doesn't know what is happening in Portugal. And the solution is you need to have someone from Portugal or a lawyer or someone that needs to explain to, like, the SEF of the other country what is going on. And sometimes you need to send an email to the SEF here, so the SEF here needs to email the SEF there. We had a problem with the Israeli couple that they were panicking because at the time you couldn't travel without an exception, and they got the exception from the SEF here, but they were stuck in Istanbul, and they were with the police, and the police only let them went through when SEF. They called us, we talked to SEF, and then SEF sent an email saying that they had authorized the trip. And then here should be like the same.
Okay, in this situation.
Yeah.
So we need the immigration authorities of both countries talking to each other. But obviously this can happen, can't it? This is a situation that can arise if the immigration authorities aren't up to speed with each other's practices. I mean, that's basically what's going on here, right?
Yeah, but this is the kind of thing that it's important for me to know so that I can approach SEF with. So it would be important, Solar Life of Portugal, if you could give me some more details about this, so I can approach SEF with this, so they can understand that they are getting people lives stuck because they are not making any move on this.
Absolutely.
Because for them it's okay. You can travel with the paper, but it's as you can see, it's not like that, because yes, they can go out with the paper, but maybe they cannot come back to the country so easily, because the other countries don't understand the situation. It's a complex situation.
Indeed, and even with the QR code, as we understand she has here, it's a complex situation. So, well, good luck with that. And we'll see if we can help in some way there, Pete. Maybe we need to talk after the show about this. Chris would like to know, how you doing, Chris? You didn't tell me what you thought of the Ovos Rotos crisps, or do you just never want to talk about it again, Chris? Gilda, any news on the biometric cards for Brits? I'm guessing not.
He asks the same questions for months and months.
Ever hopeful, ever hopeful. If you want to impress somebody with your Icelandic today, I mean, we offer so much value here. Here's something you can drop into a conversation from your time in Iceland or from a dear Icelandic friend. Drupin Horasteinen. I don't know if that's really how Icelandic people speak, but that was my first go. Translates to the drop hollows the stone. That's got a nice ring to it, hasn't it? Drop hollowing the stone. That's the way. That's what we're going to go with as the metaphor, the migration metaphor of Monday morning. This morning, Just keep dripping away and you will make a hollow in the stone. Bon dia a todos from Ian. Late arrival this morning. Cue quotes from I'm sorry, I haven't a clue. We've better late than pregnant, as I heard recently. I think that was from Francis. We finally have our drive being laid this week, so a bit distracted. Have a great day and week. Thank you very much indeed. And Victoria's here. Hola, bon dia, kids from Pennsylvania. She's in Pennsylvania. It's still dark.
Oh.
To Gilda and Carl. And bon dia, Gilda. You are loved by Carl's fans. They've got fans. Yay! Fantastic. Faja do dia is Phyllis Nelson's Move Closer. I see what you did there, Chris. You see, migration, moving closer. Very, very good. I like that. Mommy's Boo. We often get Mommy's Boo turning up when you're here, Gilda. Hi, Gilda and Carl. Bon dia to you both. Can you confirm that Seth has started giving out appointments again? And I think we are talking about reunification here. So big fat
they
yes.
give, but it's for a short period. I don't know if today they are still opening for appointments.
Okay, all right. There you go, Mummy's Boo. I had a large glass of wine. I thought it necessary. Johnny Depp. When in Portugal. Did you know that the word Depp in German means a not so smart person? Yes, stupid or idiot. I think an opinion about him is contained in the statement there in the chat. Have to giggle when I see Johnny Depp's name, as many Germans obviously do. Thank you for that. Matty. Okay, let's see. Any more questions this morning for Gilda? Migration Monday. We're going to take a little break from migration questions and have a look at a Casa do Dia, because I want to show you the many beautiful properties of Portugal, and I would like Gilda's opinion on the one that I'm going to show today. But before we go there, Alex Scott, one more question on the migration front for the time being. Bon dia, how long it takes to get residency card after the CEF appointment through the D7 visa? Any extra delays nowadays? I guess it will be posted via mail one day. Obrigado.
How long it takes to get resident card after CEF appointment? It depends on the CEF. I'm going to give you an example. If it is Lisbon, it can be 10 days, 10 working days. If it is Setúbal, it's around 3 months.
Okay, so it can vary. Alex, which of those is your... where is your process taking place? I'm trying to say not very well. Is that a 3-day weekend I've just had? I need another one, Gilda. Right, let's go then, shall we? Actually, no, before we go to a Casa do Dia, which I want to incorporate every day.
But what is that, Casa do Dia?
The house of the day.
Yes, but what is that? It's a new thing?
It's a new feature on the show, yeah.
Oh,
I think it's a great idea. We do look at property from time to time, but arguably not as often as we should, which I think should be every day. I love looking around houses, whether they be €4 million, pleasure domes, or a 10 grand bit of land in central Portugal. I think it's all very interesting. And I hope others do too. But before we go there, here are some kids looking for a home here in Portugal. 15 Ukrainian kids. Can we help in some way here, do you think? This reported in the Portugal Resident on the 6th of May. 15 Ukrainian children need foster families. The children arrived in Portugal as unaccompanied minors. Can you imagine what this must have been like for these little souls here? Quite incredible. They arrived in Portugal without being accompanied by family members and are currently under the protection of the CPCJ, the Commission for Protection of Children and Young People, which must be very traumatic, right? With the best will in the world, being taken into care like this must be very traumatic for these little ones. And the Justice Ministry, in articulation with Social Security and Lisbon's charitable organisation, Misericordia. And that's actually, I would like to know more about Misericordia after we've read this, Gilda, if you can tell us about that organisation. But anyway, the Minister for Internal Administration, José Luis Cañero, told a parliamentary hearing today, tasked with considering the government's proposed state budget, that efforts are being made to find host families who guarantee the protection of the children's fundamental rights. As you would hope, there are 15 minors, just a tiny fraction of the 12,500 that have arrived since the start of the war in Ukraine. A total of 500 have reached this country without a father or mother, but the vast majority of these were in the company of other relatives. This final 15 are those that weren't. Mr. Cañero, has told the hearing that CEF Borders, we know that, don't we, on a Monday, that they are the Borders and Immigration Agency, has not recorded any cases of Ukrainian minors in Portugal who have been subject to human trafficking, thankfully. As of the latest data, Portugal has offered temporary protection to just under 35,000 Ukrainians, a situation that has been seen support networks on the ground call for further funding and better coordination, as you might expect in this emergency situation. But fingers crossed for those poor little souls without their mums and dads and families here in Portugal. And I hope something that can be done to help with that. What do you think about that, Gilda? And what is Misericordia? This is a kind of social security system here in Portugal?
Yes, it's like a place that takes care of people that don't have a home, but it's a good place. It's like they have good means, and it's like
they're like local Samaritans, aren't they? I mean, I think as well they provide food, don't they, for people? Isn't it the Misericordia that takes the hot food out to old people?
Yes,
and meals
yes,
and meals
it is. It is. But when it was the war in Yugoslavia in 92, we had a crisis like this, and there were many kids that came to Portugal also in the same situation, and they all find a family. So I believe that they will find a Portuguese family.
Okay, good news. Okay, other questions then before we go to the Casa do Dia. Morning, people. I'm trying to get my kids a Portuguese passport this summer. Do they need to get the ID card first, or is that not necessary? They are British national holders only, but with a Portuguese parent, it would appear.
Okay, they need to get the ID card first, and then with the ID card, they need to get the passports.
There you go, nice and easy for you. Good morning to you, Abel. And T-Duck asking, Gilda, do you help with the renewal of the residency visa?
Yes, I do.
Absolutely, you do. I'm sure I would have guessed yes myself with that question, but it's not for me to guess. It's for Gilda to give the right answers here, as she does every Monday morning on Migration Mondays here on the Good Morning Portugal show. So, Damsel, everybody, is a fairy tale around Elodie, played by Millie Bobby Brown, that marries the impetuous Prince Henry, heir of the Orea kingdom. After the marriage, Elodie is imprisoned in a cave as a sacrifice to keep a dragon satisfied. We see what's going on here. She will have to use her strength and intelligence to survive and find a way to escape. Thank you for the plot there, Antonio F. Very helpful. Going back to this person, she doesn't want to migrate in that travel through the country. She just wants to get home to Portugal, as a Portuguese resident. I find this very strange for third countries, third in travel, though not third world. I don't think there's any more you can really say, right, Gilda? This is a situation where she's fallen through the gaps between the communication between the two countries, clearly.
Yeah.
Michelle, morning to you. Bon dia, dear Gilda and Carl this morning. The other two countries apparently only accept the actual residency card. Not surprised by the Middle East, but would have thought the Angolan Portuguese would have been better. We'll mail you and thank you. Okay, Pete, let's take that. So let's get the facts. And see
like Angola is the worst. Forget it.
Really? Tell us more. What do you mean?
They are very attached to bureaucracy. They need stamps on everything. They need like 1,000 papers for everything.
Okay. All right. Pete, I am doing that now. The comments, if you look to the comments, you will see Gilda's contact details there so that you can get in touch for a professional view on that. And it is Cindy. We are finding out there. Paul Harrison, bon dia, looking forward to... I'm trying to show a Casa do Dia, everybody, but the questions keep coming in. And we should prioritize these, of course, on Migration Monday. Bon dia, looking forward to coming back early June as a married couple requesting the D7 visas at the consulate. Do we both have to attend the meeting? Good question, Paul.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. They want to see you both. Want to make sure you're both real, right?
Because you are going to have a resident card, each of you. So you both need to go there.
Yeah, you can't just turn up for the other one there. Those Ukrainian children, breaking my hopes, some expats could foster them. It's possible if the expats are residents here. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that. I wonder who this is. Celina Fernando with a Facebook link. Is that something that we should encourage or ban immediately from the screen? Tell us, please, community. I'm sure, says Pete, there are plenty of lovely Portuguese families who will help.
Yes, I agree.
Community. And Dr. Faisal Rabi, I want to know about the D7 visa. That is exactly the right place to be on a Monday morning, talking to Gilda. The details that you need. Why not make contact with the office? That's quite an open and broad question there for you, Dr. Rabi. So make contact with EI via the link there, and that's for Pete as well. Comedy recommendation for you, Gilda. Brooklyn 99. Do you like American comedy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, me too. It's pretty funny, I've got to say. And I'm still enjoying the community. I don't know how many of them. They must have been exhausted after making all of that. Oh, Chevy Chase and the crew. Moaz and Rebel, thanks. It was suggested to me, so asked about Asylum. I don't think it's going to happen. Suze,
no.
Pop into, I think you say somewhere here that you had a Finnish residency card, but not officially an EU citizen, something along those lines. But I think it's got to be worth going into the camera with your Finnish residency just to see what happens, right? Misericordia is a very old institution created in 1498 to help the poor and still doing a fantastic job here in Portugal. You will see that word around the place like that, and now you know what it means. And okay, let's do mi casa do dia now. I'm going to share with you a ready-to-move-in villa near, where is this? Penella. Do you know Penella, Gilda?
Is it near Coimbra?
Yes. 10 points to start the Casa do Dia quiz with you this morning. Very good. And for this, you will need 439,000 euros, I think, for this one. But it's a beauty, and it is listed with EXP Portugal. Look at that. Nice pool and dining area. I think when the sun really gets hot, you're going to need a cover over that little, what are they called? Pergola there, aren't you? So let's have a look through the lovely pictures, and we'll tell you a bit more about it. This is Santa Eufemia y Rabassal, place blessed of the cheesemakers of Rabassal. Looks pretty nice, doesn't it, Gilda? You liking it so far?
Yes.
I think that the gazebo pergola thing definitely needs a cover on it, though. Cover on the swimming pool for the winter months. I think we're spending a lot of time outside. Or greenhouse for the green-fingered ones, the green-thumbed ones. And that must be... You've always got to have a picture.
I saw this house before.
Really, I haven't, and I'm admiring I'm imagining there are about 5,000 pictures here. If they're going into this level of detail to show you the swimming pool pump, we could be here for some time, Gilda. That I think is just proving to you that the pump, the swimming pool and pump system is very well attended to, and that's a lovely greenhouse as well. Oh, and I do like this covered area. Take refuge from the blistering sun as you enjoy your local cheese and wine and look out over the hills around Penella. We're not even inside the house yet. Oh, we're on the first floor now, Gilda. Quite like the look of this here. 439,000 euros. Have a look down the back of the sofa, everybody. See what you can pull together for this. This is a nice house. Look at this. We're up on the first floor now, and we have some patio doors that are going out onto that veranda, balcony there. We're still not inside, though, are we? We're still wandering around the grounds, checking out the swimming pool. Oh, here's the back of the property. And the all-important laundry drying facilities there, Gilda. It's very important. Feel free to chip in with any of your own observations. Well, this is ideal, isn't it, for, I think, a country residence. Will we keep our flat in Lisbon and just go here at the weekends, Gilda? Is that how we do it as a Portuguese? Oh, it's got a tractor.
Yeah, not me.
Not you. Oh, it's not for you. Not for Gilda, this one. Okay. So you kind of, I'm getting a feeling you kind of like it, but it's not that the location's wrong or the architecture's wrong. What is not for you?
It's too much work to keep it for the weekend.
Oh, okay. So, but yeah, you get there at the weekend and you spend your whole weekend mowing the grass and not relaxing at all. I'm with you. Must have a well. So many pictures, and we're not even inside the house yet. An olive grove. I see what you mean, Gilda. There's a lot of work to be done here in this property, isn't there? And there's the long shot of it there. Casa do Dia today. Thank you very much, EXP Portugal, and to Paul for sending me that way. We didn't look at a single picture inside, but there's a nice sunset for you that you get to see at the end of the day. Do love this part of Portugal, central Portugal. Penella has the most amazing castle, and one of the legendary Principio, I think they're called, Gilda. You know, that's the nativity scene at Christmas, isn't it? The Principio at Penella Castle is stuff of legend. So there you go. A fitting image at the end there. And far too many photos to go through, but check out EXP Portugal, 439,000 euros. Our Casa do Dia today. Have I got the Portuguese correct on that, Casa do Dia? Because you quizzed me on that. Okay, all right. You're just wondering what I was introducing into the mix here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. All right, any more questions, anybody? It's through the government. The one near us is offered at a school. I will find the link for you to look into. I think that's Chris learning about speaking Portuguese. 1498, just 6 years after Columbus accidentally crashed into the North American continent there. Is that right? And Carl, I think as a juxtaposition to Wiley, should only do house apartments under 150,000 euros. Don't worry, we're going to do a house every day. If you see
from
yeah,
different.
Yeah, exactly. If you see something that takes your fancy, send the link to me and I'll talk my way through it. Hopefully it won't have 2,000 pictures. New Monday morning challenge with Gilda. I love the way Gilda looks like she is on University Challenge when she answers a question. Carl, start of a 10. Gilda Pereira of A. Over to you. One time in the US, I was separated from my sister because I went with the Americans and she went with the foreigners. She had a visa, but I was kept for hours with the immigration. Luck of the draw. Isn't it? Luck of the draw with those sorts of things, or bad luck of the draw. Gilda, do all town halls, a cultural question now for you. I think I've got another one about guinea pigs as well. I'll see if I can find that. Gilda, do all town halls offer free Portuguese lessons? Do you know? And what is your advice to people coming to Portugal about learning Portuguese?
First of all, I don't know about town halls offering free Portuguese lessons, but it must be my ignorance about that.
You're very hard on yourself. You can't know about everything.
I don't know everything, but my advice is to find a good teacher for it.
Yes, well, maybe one-to-one, and you can do this on Zoom. Yeah, you can do this on Zoom. We're starting with.
I'm going to give you an example. I lived in France, and what I did, I found a good teacher, and it was one-to-one.
Ah, okay. There you go, one-to-one, and over Zoom. So easy to do now, isn't it? So that's Gilda's advice on that. Not sure about the town halls, but I think Rebel Mama was. Follow-up questions for Gilda then. How soon should we start the application for renewal of the D7? Well, before you answer that directly, Gilda, can you just go over the D7 stages, obviously starting with the 4-month part, and then what are the renewal phases involved in the D7, if you will?
The what? Sorry?
The sequence of how you get your first 4 months, don't you? Then you get your first year and you have to renew, which is what T-Duck's asking about here. What is that sequence, and when is the time to make the application?
Now it's 2 years.
Beg your pardon, 2 years, yes.
2 years.
That's why we have the experts here. So we are looking then at your first allowance is for 2 years. And I guess that's what T-Duck is asking about here. You need to renew towards the end of those first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
When, how, what's the best thing to do apart from giving you a ring?
Need to apply 30 days before the expiration. Okay. But so because CEF is always too full, you should send us a note like 2 months or 3 months before, so we can start making the appointment. Okay,
there you go. And for that, you get a hey. We should play that. We should get a Fonz sound effect of hey every time you give a fantastic answer to a question. Here's Gilda. On the flight to Gatwick last night, the person sat in front of me let 7 bags of those very large crisp bags off in the plane. It can be very annoying, other people eating crisps in close proximity there. We're coming up to 10 o'clock this morning. I think we've come to a conclusion here. But we say that, don't we, every Monday morning, and then suddenly there are 10. You turn your back, and there are suddenly 10 more questions in the chat here. Ignorance is not an insult, says in and of itself. It is simply a lack of information or knowledge. So thank you very much, James, for that. Yeah, and it's true, isn't it? Gilda can't possibly know everything, but if she doesn't, she will find out, and she's back again on every Monday morning to come back with anything we haven't been able to satisfy on a Monday morning. So I hope for you, Dr. Fazal Rabi, you're now in touch with that's the thing to do, isn't it, Jill, to get in touch with the contact details, your website, or Gerald?
I'm sorry, the D7, it would take 1 hour to explain everything.
Yes.
But you can book a consultation with us, or we are going to have a forum about that, aren't we?
Yeah.
A webinar about it.
Upcoming webinar, so stay tuned for that as well, Dr. Rabi. And if you want to email Gilda and the crew, go to Gerald or email Gerald at immigrant.pt there. Massive thank you to both of you. I know Cindy will really appreciate it. A great community, Just So Portuguese. Well, let's see what we can do about that. I have a couple of lovely videos to show you, and you can bet your life, Gilda, by the time we've shown these videos, there will be a few more migration questions. But this very kindly taking us to the Bairrada region again, and this is Andy of the Porky Feet, and he has sent us a video of the Bean Festival. Have you ever been to a bean festival here in Portugal, Gilda?
A bean festival?
Yes.
No.
Me neither. We are going to go virtually to a bean festival now. If you can't do it on your own, you can do it virtually with the Good Morning Portugal community, specifically Andy here. This is the first part, or the first of my 2 videos that I'm going to show that was sent in by Andy. Well, something's going on there, isn't it? No sign of any beans at that stage. Let's see if this next video gives us any clues as to the full involvement of beans in this particular day out in Portugal. That's a great bit of tech, isn't it? That captures your day out, the route of your walk, a few of the photos, and a bit of the video. I think you wanted to say something about beans, Gilda.
I feel very tired just watching the video.
You see, Pete knows what's happening here. I didn't see many beans there. And yes, Rebel Mama, they may have been bean-powered motorbikes. Look, love that whole parade of motorcycles being trailed by the scooter. It's just the Portuguese people with another excuse to eat, drink, and ride motorbikes and listen to loud music, all right? I guess the exhaust smells like bean fueled. Maybe, whoa, the blow-up doll on the back of that bike. Well, you say that, Rebel Mama, but if you fell off, you would be glad to land on a blow-up doll, I suspect. It might be a safety thing. Don't jump to unnecessary conclusions. Gumper gang, fondle that like button. for this moving show. And in case you missed it, obviously the Bean Festival will happen again next year. Maybe see you there. It's 10 o'clock, Gilda. Time for some of us to go and do some proper work, right? To be fair to you, you've been working all morning here. This is a lot of fun for me. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow. Should we just tell everybody what's coming up in the next few days and this week here on the Good Morning Portugal show before you have to rush off? Mandela's been very quiet this morning, Gilda. Do you think he's eating something quietly?
Probably.
Somewhere else in the house. I'll let you go. Have a great day. Lots of love to everybody in the office.
Thank you. Have a nice week.
Thank you so much for being here. I will see you next Monday. Take care. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Bye-bye.
There she goes. What's that? I just sent him 4 that would give you change from 10,000 euros. This is exactly what Rebel Mama was talking about, isn't it? Turn you back for a minute, come back to the comments and think, what on earth are they talking about? Thank you, Carl and Gilda. Okay, coming up this week, it may well be Gilda on Thursday. Not had that confirmed yet, but we may be talking about the D7 visa on Thursday. Of course, one of our most popular videos, learning about the NHR and the D7 visa. 35,000 views of that, I noticed, over the weekend. So we may be updating that particular presentation. And coming up this week on the show, tomorrow we will have Spartan. Oh, I've got to do that before we go. A record high still of the relationship between the dollar and the euro. Still a great time to buy euros with your dollars. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow when we have Nunu from Winsurance and somebody from the gang at Spartan tomorrow on Consumer Tuesday. Dougie's back on Wednesday, and he will have with him, or we will have with us, a very special guest, Paul, American newly in Portugal, who's a keen cyclist and has cycled all around the world, I believe, and is keen to cycle here in Portugal, and he's a funny guy, an ex-history teacher, and an amusing person with many an anecdote. So that will be on Wednesday with Dougie. And then on Thursday, I'm hoping we're going to be talking to a couple, a German couple, who are wanting to build a community, an eco-community down in the Algarve, or somewhere in Portugal, at least. We'll find out more about that on Thursday. And Filomena Friday, on Friday, Portuguese language and culture on Friday with Filomena, with a bit of feel-good fun. So we'll see you then. Okay, feijoas, tempo ao café. Time for coffee. Have a good one, everybody. Have a great day. And we'll see you. Oh, no. I'm going to find the currency report for you. Those of you who aren't interested in currency can go now. Those of you who want to hear the currency report, please stay tuned for just a few moments longer as I share this with you. So, currency update today. Pound falls as the Bank of England raise interest rates to 1%, the highest level since 2009, and warns of a risk of recession as energy prices continue to rise. The cost of living crisis is worsening and impacting the UK economy and inflation. Inflation is already at its highest level in 30 years, and it could rise to 10% in the UK by the end of 2022. The rising costs of fuel, energy, food, and importing goods are becoming more and more expensive. The Ukraine-Russia war has exacerbated a problem that is only going to get worse. In the view of Spartan here with this currency report, households are feeling the pinch, and many are already on the breadline. With the UK economy expecting to contract in Q4, the Bank of England has now warned of the risk of recession. The Bank of England said global inflationary pressures have intensified sharply following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This has led to material deterioration in the outlook for the world and UK growth. Concerns about further supply chain disruption have also risen, both due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine and to COVID-19 developments in China. So the GBP, the Great British Pound, Euro, is now trading at levels last seen in December 2021. Better news for dollar holders. The US dollar is still at a 5-year high against the euro. The US dollar should remain attractive as long as the Ukraine-Russian war and the lockdowns in China continue. Euro has weakened despite the re-election of Macron, and Germany, the largest economy in the EU, is set to cut its growth forecast. The Russia-Ukraine war is having an impact on the German economy. If you need to make any payments in euros, speak to Spartan FX. Find out more tomorrow. They can help you secure the price of your euros and protect your budget. So you can approach them in that way as well and set up a free account at spartanfx.co.uk. Thank you for bearing with me there for the currency report from Spartan FX. More from them tomorrow. Have a great day, folks. Thanks for being here this morning. And we'll see you tomorrow. Até amanhã.